Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. And I believe we did the second, third, and fourth challenges in the last video. So we're just going to move on to the fifth one, which is this one here, another practitioner level 1. Let's just get straight into it. So this lab says, this lab contains a SQL injection vulnerability in the product category filter, the same as last time. The results from the query are returned in the application's response, so you can use a union attack to retrieve data from other tables. Same again. To construct such an attack, you need to combine some of the techniques you've learned in previous labs. Cool. The database contains a different table called users with columns called username and password. Okay, they're going to be important later. To solve this lab, perform a SQL injection union attack to retrieve all username and passwords and use the information to log in as the administrator user. Okay, let's start the lab. Okay, so again, we've got these categories, these filters, and let's just check that the apostrophe still breaks the query, which it does. That's great. So we want to see what's in the users table, but first we need to do the union attack. So to do that, we need to find out how many columns we have in the original query, and then we can sort of tack onto that. So let's do union select. Let's do null server error. So it's not 1. Should we try 2? Oh, it's 2. Okay, so it has changed actually. Because previously I believe it was 3. That's fine. So we need to select something from the users table, don't we? So if we do from users, we get something back, but we don't get anything useful back. So the two things that we actually are going to need back are strings. So we're going to need the username and password, which will be stored as a string. So if we do, I don't know, test username, just as an example, and test password, if these get returned, then we should be good to go, which are strings. Cool, so we know that the columns in the database are called username and password, and the table is called users. So let's try username and password from users. So you can see here, we have actually got the username and password. It's unhashed, presumably. So let's just copy that and go over to my account. And the username was administrator. Password, oh, what was that? Was the one that we just copied. And that was it. But before we move on, let's open up our text editor again and just see what the query probably looked like. So it would have been, in fact, let's go back to the home, see what the query looked like. So union select username password from users. So we had it select, let's say, well, in this case, it's going to be something like title and category text or something like that. So title, category, let's just put description. From categories where category name is food. Or food, we'll just say food for argument's sake. So that's probably what the category SQL query looks like for this page here. So we'll have a title and the description, and our injection again is in this category. Oh, this category here. Sorry, this URL parameter here. So what we did is we did a apostrophe, and then we did a union select username password from users and commented off the rest. So again, we've got the two columns here that match up with the two columns here in terms of numbers again, the quantity of them. And we're selecting it from the users table. So as long as you have these two matching in quantity, the union select should work fine. And obviously you have the table name and everything else right. So yeah, okay, that's great. That's that one done. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this one says, this lab contains a SQL injection vulnerability in the product category filter. Again, the same. The results from this query are returned in the application response, so you can use a union attack to retrieve data from other tables. The database contains a different table called users with the columns called username and password. To solve this, use a SQL injection union attack to retrieve all usernames and passwords and to use the information to log in as the administrator user. Okay. So the difference here is that we are retrieving multiple values into a single column. So that means we need to concatenate the values into a single value that we can read. So I imagine we can only inject one column this time. So let's just do the apostrophe again, right? If we do a union select null, no, okay, this is it 2 columns, but only one will be visible, I imagine. 2 columns. But if we change one of these to a string, ABC. Okay, so that one doesn't work as a string. So if we change this one to be a string, we get ABC back, which is located down here. So we need to select 2 columns with inside 1 column. Does that make sense? So what we actually need to do, there's a function in SQL, in MySQL anyway, called concat. And what it does is you can select username and password from users. So it concatenates 2 items into 1 item, or 2 columns into 1 output column. But this isn't very readable. So what we actually want to do is maybe find a delimiter. And what you can do is you can just add a pipe in, or so here we can see the administrator user pipe, which is our delimiter, and the password. Let's grab that one. Go to my account. Chuck that in there, and this was administrator. Log in. There we go. Lab solved. The SQL query will be pretty much the same as the last time. Maybe the column types don't match, but ultimately the query would look the same. So I think we've got time for one more. Let's do one more. Back to all labs, and then go down to retrieving multiple values from a single column. That's the one we just did, I believe. So SQL injection attack, querying the database type and version on Oracle. Oh, this is going to be fun. This lab contains a SQL injection vulnerability in the product category filter. You can use a union attack to retrieve the results from the injected query. To solve the lab, display the database version string. Now we know it's Oracle. So if we just go to Google, we do Oracle get version. Was it get version? Yeah. So we need to retrieve the version string. Get version. Retrieve Oracle version information. So we need to select everything from the $version. That shouldn't be a problem. Let's try this. Again, it's in this category filter here. Let's just see if this breaks it. It does. Awesome. So we're on the right track. So let's just try putting an apostrophe in here again. Cool, that breaks. So we know we're on the right track there. So Oracle is slightly different to MySQL in the respect that you need to have a from clause in every query. So if we want to do a union attack, we have to do union select null from, and there's a magic table called dual, so just dual like that, which is sort of a fake table. It's a table made on the fly, I believe. There you go. But for example, if we didn't have this, we would just get internal server error every time. So for our sake, we need to have the dual table, which is fine. It's not a problem. So we can assume, again, we have a title and we have a and a description. So let's see if we can just do ABC in here. Do we get an ABC? We do get an ABC there. Awesome. So we can use this. So we actually want to select a column called banner, I think. Let me just double check. Let's see if it's in here. Yes, there's a table called a column called banner. So in here, what we want to do is select, I think it's just banner like that from the version. Did it work? It must have worked because we passed it. Yep, here we go. So this is what we get back. So yeah, that one's solved as well. So yeah, that's that. If you learned anything in this video, drop me a like. If you want to support the channel, drop me a follow. Come chat to me on IRC or Discord or anywhere you want. And thanks. Take it easy.